Hey everyone, welcome. I am so excited to get into this with you today. We're going to dive deep into a remarkably elegant argument from the Quran that uses pure logic to tackle one of the biggest questions out there, the nature of God. It's this really cool, super elegant piece of reasoning, so let's just jump right in. Okay, so the entire argument we're going to unpack really boils down to this one powerful question. Think of it as a thought experiment on a cosmic scale. Seriously, just take a moment and imagine. If the universe was run by a committee of gods, what would that actually look like? What would our reality even feel like? So, to tackle that huge question, the source material gives us this awesome four-step path. It's super clear. First, we'll look at the purpose of creation itself. Then, we'll get into the nature of truth. After that comes the core logical proof. And finally, we'll see how this single message has been consistent throughout history. All right, first up, the whole idea that creation has a purpose. This is the foundation. The argument kicks off by saying that this universe we're in isn't just random. It's not the result of some divine whim or a case of cosmic boredom. There's a point to it all. So the argument starts with the verse, "And we did not create the heaven and earth and that between them in play." Now, this is a direct challenge to any idea that creation is just, well, a game. It's basically saying this whole universe, it's not a joke, it's not some divine sandbox, and it's definitely not here because God was bored. The Quran's position is really firm on this. The universe operates on deep intention, not just some fleeting impulse. And then, get this, the argument uses what our source calls divine sarcasm, and it is just a devastatingly effective point. The thinking is, look, if God really needed to be entertained, if he had these human-like needs, he wouldn't need to create this entire massive universe just for kicks. Attributing those kinds of needs to the divine is, as the text suggests, a fundamental misunderstanding, a huge category error. Okay, so if creation is serious business, not just a game, then what does that tell us about truth itself? That's what we're getting into next. The argument now pivots to the dynamic between truth and falsehood, and let me tell you, it's not presented as some kind of gentle coexistence. And the imagery here, wow, it is so visceral, so powerful. The verse says, "Rather, we dash the truth upon falsehood and it destroys it." But the original Arabic is even more intense. It suggests that truth strikes the very skull of falsehood, completely smashing it. So this isn't some polite debate between equals. It's presented as the active, destructive force of clarity wiping out myth. The implication is pretty clear. Falsehood can only really exist when truth isn't there to challenge it. And this right here is where we get to the intellectual heart of the entire argument. We're moving from these big theological ideas to a straight-up, rational proof against the very possibility of a polytheistic system even working. But before we get the full proof, the Quran throws down this audit question, as the source calls it, and it is a zinger. It asks, "Or have they taken gods from the earth who resurrect the dead?" This sets the ultimate benchmark for what it means to be divine. The ability to not just create, but to restore life is presented as the minimum job requirement. And the follow-up question that's left hanging in the air is powerful. If a being can't do that, on what basis are you worshiping it? Okay, so here it is, the core proof. Let's just walk through this together, step by step. Step 1. Okay, let's just pretend for a second there are multiple gods. Step 2. Well, logically, if you've got multiple wills, they're going to clash, right? It's inevitable. One god wants the sun to rise, another wants it to set. Chaos. Step 3. But then you look around, and what do you actually see? You see profound coherence, you see order, the laws of physics are consistent. And so, step 4. The only conclusion that makes any sense is that there's just one will, one single commander running the show. So this idea of a single command center, it naturally leads to this next point about authority. The verse says, "He is not questioned about what he does, but they will be questioned." The hierarchy is just crystal clear. Authority flows one way, from the creator down to creation, not the other way around. It completely reframes any human objection to a divine decree as, well, a fundamental misunderstanding of who's who in the relationship. All right, for our last section, the argument zooms out a bit. It moves from pure logic to history, kind of backing up the rational proof with historical consistency. And it also clears up some things about other powerful beings, like angels. See, the Quran's position is that this message, one God, is not a new thing at all. It's presented as the same core message given to all the prophets throughout all of history. From Abraham to Moses, from Jesus to Muhammad, the central creed is shown to be unchanged. There is no deity except me, so worship me. So monotheism isn't some new update, it's framed as the original user manual for humanity.
Okay, so you might be thinking, well, what about angels? Aren't they super powerful? And the argument totally anticipates that. The verses are really clear. They are honored servants, not divine family members or junior partners. They have zero independent authority. They only act when commanded. They don't speak before he does. They can't even step in to intercede for anyone without his express permission. In fact, their nearness to God only increases their humility and their awe, not their sense of entitlement.
And all of this entire logical journey, it brings us to this absolutely perfect summary from the source material. It just nails it. The universe isn't run by a boardroom. It's run by al-haq, the truth. And al-haq, that's one of God's names in Islam. It doesn't just mean truth, it means the reality, the justice. So the cosmos isn't some chaotic democracy of competing wills. It's an ordered reality, all governed by one single absolute principle.
So let's leave it with this final, kind of provocative thought. The whole argument we just walked through is built on this idea: coherence in the cosmos points to a single commander. So, if that's the case, what does all the chaos we so often see in human affairs, what does that imply about our own alignment, or maybe misalignment, with that single will? It's definitely something to think about.